Opa Book, welcome, curious minds and midnight dreamers. You're about to enter a world where stories come alive and every word holds a secret. So grab a cozy seat, maybe a cup of tea, and let me take you on a journey you won't forget. This is story time like you've never heard before. Crescent Moon. A single, echoing knock shattered the stillness of the night. A soft, gentle knock echoed through the stillness, a reassuring reminder that life pulsed beyond the confines of my quiet house, a whisper of the world waiting just outside. As I approached the door, the fabric of my robe clung to my skin, a reminder of the hurried shower I had rushed through that morning, my hair still dripping with the remnants of water. As I turned the handle and pulled the door open, my mind raced with the possibilities of who might be standing on the other side. A familiar mailman, perhaps, or a friendly neighbor stopping by for a chat. But it was Jake. His presence loomed like a shadow, stirring memories long buried and emotions that threatened to erupt. The son of my closest friend, 19 lofty. The oppressive summer heat clung to the skin, a thin sheen of sweat forming as the sun blazed overhead. He wore a white tank top that clung to his chest, accentuating his physique and embracing his arms in all the right ways. His curls tumbled wildly, framing a smile that radiated youthful charm. "Hey, Miss Naomi," he said, raising a small box with a glint of mischief in his eyes. "My mother entrusted me with this to deliver to you." His voice resonated with a depth I had long forgotten. For a fleeting instant, I found myself blinking, then a smile broke across my face. Jake stood at the edge of the world, the wind howling around him, carrying whispers of secrets untold. His heart raced, each beat echoing the weight of his choices. In the distance, shadows danced, beckoning him into the unknown. This was the moment that would change everything. Oh, the horror! It feels like an eternity since our paths last crossed. As he passed me the package, a delicate blend of soap and cologne wafted through the air, intertwined with the warmth of sunlight. Indeed, life has been a whirlwind of school and various commitments. Yet, my mother insisted this held great significance. "Step inside," I urged, moving aside to let them enter. "Allow me to tempt you with a refreshing glass of lemonade." He paused, uncertainty gripping him like a vice. "Only if you're absolutely certain." I demanded. As he stepped inside, an air of ease and unwavering confidence surrounded him, leaving my throat parched and my heart racing. Perhaps it was the way his tank exposed just enough to ignite the imagination, leaving everything else shrouded in tantalizing mystery. Perhaps the ache of solitude had simply lingered within me for far too long. I filled 2 glasses to the brim, the liquid shimmering in the light, and handed one to him, our eyes locking in a moment thick with unspoken tension. For a fleeting moment, our fingers grazed against each other, igniting a spark that lingered in the air. He gazed at me, his deep brown eyes shimmering with a hint of mischief, and a smile crept across his lips. "Your appearance is truly striking, I must say." I let out a laugh, perhaps a bit too hasty. "This ancient robe protests." "No, seriously," he said, his voice low as he took a deliberate sip, the tension hanging thick in the air. "You still possess that spark." The words hung in the air between us, swirling and thick like smoke, obscuring everything else. Perilous, intoxicating wisps of smoke. The living room enveloped us in its familiar embrace as we settled into our seats. I crossed my legs, a sudden awareness washing over me as I felt the robe's fabric shift and loosen around me. Jake's gaze darted, a fleeting moment lingering on my bare thigh before he averted his eyes with a hint of decorum. I swallowed hard, the sound echoing in the stillness around me. "So how's the journey through school unfolding?" "Boring," he declared, a mischievous grin spreading across his face. I longed to feel the texture of materials beneath my fingertips, to create and shape with my own hands. I swallowed hard, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. A palpable shift swept through the air. Perhaps it was all just a figment of my imagination. Perhaps it was merely my own wild imagination running amok. Yet, I sensed it deeply. I lifted the glass to my lips, the tangy sweetness of the lemonade dancing on my tongue, as I fought to maintain a carefree tone. "You've got quite the knack for handling tools, don't you?" "Yeah," he said, his voice low and filled with an unspoken weight. "At times, I find myself immersed in the gritty world of plumbing alongside my uncle, tackling the challenges that come with each job." In an instant, a thought crept into my consciousness, seemingly pure at first glance, yet tinged with a shadowy undertone that hinted at deeper secrets. "My shower's been behaving strangely," I confessed. A heavy weight presses down, suffocating and relentless. Cold water sends shivers down my spine, a sensation I loathe with every fiber of my being. "Could you take a moment to examine this?" He straightened his back, a sudden tension coursing through him. At this very moment? Should time be on your side? A sly grin spread across his face. Take the first step forward. I guided him toward the bathroom, the air thick with unspoken tension. With each step, my robe swayed and whispered against my skin, yet I felt no urge to adjust it. He knelt beside the tub, his fingers deftly twisting the knobs, his eyes scanning the pipes with a mix of urgency and determination. I lingered in the shadows, captivated by the way the muscles in his back rippled beneath the fabric of his thin tank top. There's a leak down here, he murmured, his hand probing deeper into the shadows. A washer likely awaits its turn for replacement. Is there a way to mend it? Indeed. A trip to the hardware store may be in order, though. I crouched beside him, the air thick with tension as I leaned in, closer than necessary. Our shoulders brushed against each other, a fleeting connection that sent a shiver down my spine. His breath hung in the air for a fleeting moment, his gaze locked onto mine, unwavering and intense, as if the world around us had faded into nothingness. Our faces hovered perilously close, the tension thick in the air. Silence hung in the air, thick and oppressive. His gaze lingered on my lips, then slowly traced the soft drape of my robe. I should have turned back. I should have spoken up. Yet, I refrained. He felt the weight of silence, a shared understanding that lingered in the air, unspoken yet palpable. Neither did he. The silence echoed our unspoken words. Thank you, Jake, I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence. For what purpose? His voice dripped with a hushed intensity as if sharing a clandestine truth. For igniting the spark of emotion within me once more. Silence hung in the air, heavy and unyielding. He remained unresponsive, a wall of stillness that spoke volumes. His gaze bore into me, unyielding and intense. In that instant, a profound realization washed over me. Everything had shifted. That night, I lay in bed, my fingers brushing against my lips as if his kiss still lingered there, igniting a fire within me. He had not. Not just yet. Yet deep down I yearned for him to. I never should have done that. He was the son of my closest friend, in the bloom of youth. Strikingly attractive. Intrigued, yet desire knows no boundaries. And I had just stepped into a realm from which there was no turning back. The dawn broke, yet my mind was ensnared by thoughts of Jake. An unshakable presence that lingered like a haunting melody. His eyes held a depth that seemed to draw you in, a swirling mystery waiting to be unraveled. His hands trembled, each finger a silent testament to the weight of unspoken stories. His gaze pierced through me, revealing that I was more than merely a mother, more than just an aging widow draped in a silk robe. I stood before the mirror, the bristles of the brush gliding through my hair. My robe cinched a touch tighter today, as if bracing for the unknown that lay ahead. Yet, I couldn't shake the feeling of my skin radiating, as if it held onto the memory of his warmth, despite the fact that he had never laid a finger on me. The knock at the door echoed once more, sending a shiver down my spine. My heart raced, a sudden jolt of adrenaline coursing through me. Could it truly be him? I opened it, and there he was, just as I had feared. Jake stood at the edge of the world, the air thick with anticipation as shadows danced around him, whispering secrets of the unknown. But this time, he wore something different, a stark contrast to the familiar tank top that had once defined him. He donned a black t-shirt that clung to his chest, with jeans that draped perfectly, accentuating his figure. In his grasp, a small brown bag rested, its presence hinting at secrets untold. I brought the washer, he declared, hoisting the bag with a sense of purpose. I plan to finally complete the repairs on your shower. A soft laugh escaped my lips, a fragile mask for the thunderous rhythm of my heart. Your kindness knows no bounds. He crossed the threshold once more, as if the very air welcomed him back, a sense of belonging wrapping around him like an old familiar cloak. His movements captivated me, exuding a sense of ease and assurance, each step radiating a subtle yet undeniable power. We made our way to the bathroom once more, the air thick with anticipation. The fabric of my robe whispered against my thighs, a soft caress that sent shivers down my spine. His eyes caught a glimpse but swiftly moved on. He sank to his knees beside the tub, unzipped the bag, and began his meticulous task. I perched on the edge of the tub, my gaze fixed on him, every moment thick with unspoken tension. I fought against the urge to gaze, my eyes betraying my resolve, yet I stumbled. You keep looking at me, he said, his gaze fixed elsewhere. A smile crept across my face. Your beauty captivates effortlessly. His eyes lifted gradually, locking onto mine with an intensity that sent a shiver down my spine. You are too. The silence enveloped me once more, a profound stillness that drew me in, far beyond the reach of mere words. Do you require a towel? I blurted out, rising to my feet in a rush. Yeah, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. My hands are drenched. I pivoted on my heel and strode toward the linen cabinet, each step echoing with purpose. My rope slid tantalizingly off my shoulder. I left it broken. As I pivoted, he loomed before me, his presence more immediate than ever. Water cascaded from his hands, each droplet glistening like a fleeting moment of time slipping away. Here I breathed, offering him the towel with a sense of urgency. He accepted the towel, but rather than drying his hands immediately, he lifted his fingers and delicately brushed a drop of water from my collarbone. His touch was gentle, a whisper against the skin, insufficiently firm. I drew in a breath, sharp and sudden. Naomi, he uttered, his voice hanging in the air like a fragile whisper, as if seeking confirmation in the depths of uncertainty. As I gazed into his eyes, a world of unspoken secrets unfolded before me. Guilt was a distant echo, absent from the depths of the soul. Only heat, desire, marvel. I let him go. His hand slid to my waist, a bold and electrifying gesture that sent shivers down my spine. In an instant, his lips found theirs, igniting a spark that sent shivers down my spine. It moved slowly, each moment stretching out like an eternity. It lacked the ferocity of chaos. The pace dragged on, each moment stretching like an eternity. Deliciously enticing, testing. I surrendered to him, my fingers gliding up his chest, sensing the rapid thump of his heartbeat mirroring my own. He hesitated, drawing back ever so slightly. I've been yearning to do that since yesterday, he confessed, his eyes glinting with determination. I gulped, the weight of the moment settling heavily in my throat. I've craved that since the moment you knocked at the door. That confession shattered the fragile barrier that existed between us. His lips met mine once more, plunging into a deeper, more intoxicating embrace. My rope slipped from my grasp and I let it fall, surrendering to the moment. His hands roamed over me as if I were a long-lost manuscript, each curve and every inch igniting a fire within him, while I struggled to stifle the soft moans that threatened to escape. Once more, I found myself in the form of a woman. More than a widow, more than just a mother. A longing consumed me. Yearned, awake. Later, we sprawled on the plush bathroom rug, our bodies entwined, hearts pounding in a wild rhythm. The silence hung heavy between us, a palpable tension that begged to be broken. At last, Jake breathed out, "Was that all right?" I pivoted my gaze, locking eyes with him. Far beyond mere satisfaction. "I never intended to force your hand," he said, his voice low and heavy with unspoken tension. "You didn't," I insisted. "I craved this just as fiercely as you did." He smiled, a genuine, radiant smile that not only made him appear younger but also imbued him with an undeniable strength. "We can't let anyone know," I whispered, glancing around as if the walls themselves had ears. With a subtle nod, he acknowledged the weight of the moment. They could never grasp it. I stared up at the ceiling, lost in thought. Though the reasons elude me, I find no remorse in my choice. But I chose not to. In that intimate, heated bathroom, I discovered something I believed was forever gone: desire, touch, connection. A haunting void that echoes with unspoken words. It arrived unexpectedly, embodied in a 19-year-old boy who ignited a spark within me, making me feel alive and vibrant once more. The morning light filtered through the curtains, and as I stirred awake, I realized I was wrapped in the soft embrace of Jake's black t-shirt. The air was thick with his scent, crisp and youthful, laced with an unmistakable hint of mischief that danced around like a whisper of secrets waiting to be uncovered. He slipped away after our fleeting moment in the bathroom, his smile tinged with nervousness and his cheeks a deep shade of crimson. Yet, just before he crossed the threshold, he drew me in for one final electrifying kiss. "Take your time this time." Lengthier. As if he yearned to etch the memory of my flavor into his mind. As I stepped barefoot into the kitchen, his shirt cascading down to mid-thigh, the lingering warmth of his hands enveloped me, igniting a spark of memories that danced in the air. The tingling lingered, an unsettling reminder of what had transpired. I filled a mug with steaming coffee, settled onto the counter, and gazed out the window, lost in thought. The sun hung high in the sky, casting its relentless gaze upon the world below. The air was alive with the sweet, melodic chirping of birds. Yet within me, a tempest had begun to brew. What have we done? At the age of 56, I found myself standing at the crossroads of life, where every choice felt monumental and every moment pulsed with significance. At the tender age of 19, he stood on the precipice of adulthood, the world stretching out before him like an uncharted map, filled with both promise and peril. The son of my closest friend, I should have put an end to it. I should have shoved him aside. Yet, I chose not to. For the first time in years, a spark of connection ignited within me as I felt the warmth of a touch. Deeply moved. Not merely flesh against flesh, but soul to soul. In that moment, he pierced through the veil of my existence, making me feel truly seen. As the clock struck noon, my phone vibrated with an urgent buzz. A gripping tale unfolds. Jake, may I swing by later? My eyes locked onto the message, time seeming to stretch as I absorbed its weight. My thumbs lingered above the keyboard, poised for action. I typed yes, my fingers dancing across the keys as anticipation surged within me. The doors creaked open, revealing the unknown beyond. My heart raced the instant I pressed send. At 2 p.m., he reappeared in my doorway, a bag of groceries clutched tightly in his hand. I thought I'd whip up something special for you today, he declared, crossing the threshold with a determined glint in his eye. So you've taken up cooking, have you? I inquired, arching an eyebrow in curiosity. He flashed a grin, though it was far from genuine. Not well, he admitted, but I try. I turned and guided him into the heart of the home, the kitchen, where secrets simmered and stories unfolded. With a decisive motion, he set the bag down, revealing a treasure trove of ingredients: pasta, ripe tomatoes, and a small block of cheese, each waiting to play their part in the unfolding culinary adventure. In that fleeting moment, he appeared utterly innocent, a picture of normalcy, as if this wasn't bizarre. As if this was the very essence of our existence. As the water bubbled furiously, he tended to the pasta, while I skillfully diced the ripe tomatoes, their vibrant red flesh glistening under the kitchen lights. We toiled together, our shoulders brushing against each other in a dance of camaraderie. Our fingers brushed against each other, a fleeting spark igniting the air as we both reached for the same spoon. Flickering embers, innocent yet undeniably alluring. Naomi, he whispered, his voice barely breaking the silence. What's that? Had I crossed the line yesterday? I hesitated, my gaze locked onto him. What I witnessed was far beyond the innocent infatuation of a teenage boy. It was a whirlwind of emotions, a tempest brewing beneath the surface. A man stood before me, his eyes brimming with questions and an insatiable curiosity that seemed to pulse in the air around him, and perhaps, just perhaps, a hidden truth waiting to be uncovered. No, I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence. You stood still, unyielding, as if the very ground beneath you had become a barrier forbidding any passage. We both crossed the threshold into the unknown, hand in hand, ready to face whatever awaited us. With a subtle nod, he acknowledged the weight of the moment. Yet, the heavy silence that enveloped us revealed his lingering uncertainty. I understand this isn't what most would consider normal, he confessed, his voice laced with uncertainty. Time has passed and you find yourself changed. You are uniquely yourself. What am I? Stunning. Cunning. Beyond my reach. My eyelids fluttered shut for a fleeting moment. Then a smile crept across their face. Your sweetness is undeniable. His gaze lingered on me, a silent weight of unspoken words hanging in the air between us. Yet, he moved in closer. His fingers brushed against my cheek, sending a shiver down my spine. May I kiss you again? He asked, his voice a mere breath, laden with anticipation. I nodded, a silent agreement hanging in the air, thick with unspoken tension. In an instant, our lips collided once more, igniting a spark that sent shivers down our spines. Gentler this time. More deliberate. Exercise greater caution. His arms encircled my waist, and I surrendered to the warmth of his embrace, feeling myself dissolve against him. My hand glided beneath his shirt, fingers tracing the contours of his stomach, igniting a spark of electricity between us. He gasped softly, and that sound awakened a tempest of emotions within me. Our lips met with a fervor that ignited the air around us, the water bubbling and hissing violently against the stove, a chaotic symphony to our passionate embrace. Later, we sank into the couch, plates of half-eaten pasta resting in our laps, our laughter echoing through the room as we reminisced about the culinary disaster that had unfolded. Perhaps we should have gone for pizza, I playfully suggested, a mischievous glint in my eye. A smile crept across his face. Next time, I'll step back and let you take the reins in the kitchen. His hand lingered on my bare thigh, fingers tracing delicate circles that sent shivers through me. I remained frozen in place. I stood my ground, unwavering. Desire coursed through me like wildfire. It was essential. Are you scared? He asked suddenly, his voice cutting through the silence like a knife. For a fleeting moment, I paused, lost in thought. Indeed. Yet, I feel no remorse. He drew closer, pressing his lips softly against my shoulder. Neither do I. Once more, the irresistible pull beckoned. That ache lingered, a tantalizing tension between the innocent and the inevitable trouble that awaited us. Yet, in that fleeting instant, nothing else held significance. All that mattered was how his touch ignited a fire within me, making me feel as if I was blossoming anew. Awake, in search of, adored? Not just yet. Yet perhaps one day. That night he lingered, the shadows wrapping around him like a cloak. We lay entwined in the dim light, his chest pressed against my back, the warmth of his breath sending shivers down my neck. His hand slipped beneath the sheets, finding mine with a firm grip that radiated warmth and security. In that moment, a profound understanding washed over me. This was more than a fleeting instant. This was evolving into something far greater, a lurking peril, a tangible truth. To all my amazing True Infidelity Story subscribers, your unwavering support until the very end means the world to me. You are the very pulse that drives this channel forward. Welcome to a realm where emotions run deep, love knows no bounds, and the allure of the forbidden beckons. If you're just stepping into this world, don't hesitate. Hit that subscribe button and join our daring family on this thrilling journey. Let us plunge into the climactic conclusion. The morning sun crept through my bedroom window, spilling golden stripes across the sheets like liquid gold, awakening the room with its warm embrace. Jake lay beside me, lost in slumber, his hand warm and reassuring on my waist, his breath a gentle whisper against the nape of my neck. He appeared serene, as if lost in a tranquil dream, so very young, so exposed. I observed him intently, my gaze lingering as the minutes stretched into an eternity. This boy stood at the edge of the world, his heart pounding with the weight of untold stories and dreams yet to be realized. This man stood at the edge of the world, a silhouette against the fading light, his presence both commanding and enigmatic. The son of my closest friend. What led us to this moment? How did a single package ignite a fervent passion? With deliberate caution, I eased myself out of bed, mindful of the stillness that surrounded him. As I stood before the mirror, wrapping my robe tightly around me, the gravity of our actions pressed down on my chest, a suffocating realization that we were crossing a line. What would they whisper in the shadows? What words would spill from her lips? His mother, the woman who had been my dearest friend for more than 2 decades. What would her gaze reveal if she discovered that her son had pressed his lips against mine, caressed my body, and breathed my name as I quivered beneath him? Would she ever find it in her heart to forgive me? Jake stirred from his slumber, the remnants of dreams fading as reality crept in. He approached silently from behind in the dimly lit kitchen, his arms encircling my waist with a warmth that sent shivers down my spine. As he leaned in, his lips brushed against the sensitive skin of my neck, igniting a spark that lingered in the air between us. With a sleepy gaze and a warm smile, he greeted the morning. Morning, I whispered, my breath barely breaking the silence of dawn. Yet, my voice carried an unfamiliar resonance. The air crackled with anticipation. Proceed with caution. He sensed it immediately. What's wrong? He inquired, his voice laced with concern. I spun around in his embrace, cradling his face between my palms. Jake, we have to discuss something important. His smile vanished, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. He was aware. This can't keep happening, I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence. We ventured into uncharted territory, and I have no regrets. Yet the situation is far from simple, overwhelmingly intricate. Silence enveloped him, a heavy shroud that spoke volumes without a single word escaping his lips. He locked his gaze onto mine, as if delving deep within, seeking something to grasp and never let go. You're just 19, I added. And here I stand, just me. You're not just anything, he said, urgency lacing his voice. From the instant I stepped into your home, you became the sole focus of my thoughts, consuming my every moment. His words tugged at the very core of my being. Yet, the roar of my fear drowned out everything else. What if your mother discovers the truth? My voice barely escaped my lips, a mere breath in the stillness. What if this shatters everything we hold dear? He edged forward, the tension crackling in the air around him. His hands wrapped around my hips, a firm yet tender hold that sent shivers down my spine. Then we shall tread with caution. But how much longer can we remain in the shadows? I inquired. He paused, uncertainty gripping him. In that fleeting moment of silence, an unspoken truth hung in the air. What we shared had transcended mere desire. It was perilous. The flames danced wildly, their heat palpable in the air, with no water in sight to quell their fury. 2 days slipped away. I refrained from calling him. He remained silent, his phone untouched. I repeatedly whispered to myself that it was finally over. It was the 3rd afternoon when the shrill ring of my phone shattered the silence. It was her, the one who haunted his dreams and ignited a fire within his soul, Jake's mother. My heart surged, lodging itself in my throat. I replied, forcing my voice to steady, masking the turmoil within. Hey there, darling, she said, her voice bubbling with warmth. Jake mentioned he stopped by to repair your shower. Gratitude swelled within her as she acknowledged his willingness to lend a hand. He confessed that being near you made him feel incredibly mature. I gulped, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. His assistance was invaluable, I murmured, the weight of my words hanging in the air. I swear that boy's transforming into quite the gentleman, she continued, her voice filled with admiration. He confided in me that you had prepared him pasta as well, claiming it was terrible yet somehow endearing. A nervous laugh escaped my lips. He speaks the truth. Silence hung in the air, thick and palpable. And then she uttered a chilling remark that sent a shiver down my spine. You know, she murmured, her voice barely above a whisper, he talks about you. A lot. In abundance. More than what a mere neighbor ought to do. My breath hitched in my throat. I can't make sense of any of this, Naomi, she pressed on, her voice trembling with emotion. But you mean the world to me like family. And I place my unwavering trust in you. A knot of guilt coiled tightly in my stomach. Faith. That was the word that shattered my very being. Under the cloak of darkness, I reached for my phone and sent a message to Jake. We must put an end to this. His response came in a heartbeat. Why? Your mother's intuition is beginning to stir, a shadow of doubt creeping into her mind. This cannot continue. A heavy silence hung in the air. Then he sent the message, but I love you. My fingers stiffened, hovering above the screen, caught in a moment of uncertainty. What is love? Tears brimmed in my eyes. It had been years since that word had graced my ears. Yet, deep within me, a resolute clarity emerged, guiding my next steps. Then love me enough to release this, I replied, before it obliterates all that we hold dear. His last words echoed in the silence, a haunting reminder that she would forever be the first woman to awaken his very soul. It's been ages since I last laid eyes on Jake, not since that fateful night. At times I find myself lingering by the window, heart racing, anticipating a knock that remains elusive. But I can still feel the warmth of his touch, the way his lips met mine with a tenderness that made me feel truly seen. In that fleeting moment, I transcended the label of a widow grappling with a broken shower. I became a woman awakening to the intoxicating sensation of being desired once more. At times, love arrives not wrapped in the promise of eternity. At times, it's merely a fleeting instant. A kiss taken in the shadows, a fleeting moment that ignites a fire within the soul. A hushed murmur echoed through the shadows. And that must suffice.